So what are some things that you're doing spiritually to help yourself one day when you
Yes.
get married?
So some things that I'm doing to help myself like just form like a good spiritual relationship, like is just making sure that I'm putting like my growth in the Lord first. Especially like the way that I'm trying to be intentional with like going to church and like forming friendships in the church and like being active in church. Like living on your own, like when you don't have your parents to like drag you out of bed and go to church on Sundays. I had to really like force myself to be diligent in the way that I wanted to form my own relationship with God. I had to learn like what that meant for me and like what I wanted to create like for myself and my relationship with Jesus. And so I had to be really diligent in the way that I did my Bible studies, in like what I was studying, making sure that it was helping me like actually flourish like on my relationship with Christ. I didn't want it to just be like a stagnant relationship. And sometimes I still kind of struggle with that because like it is kind of hard sometimes like living on your own. So I am doing like a lot of Bible, or I was doing a lot of Bible studies around like what quiet time with the Lord looks like.
Oh, that's good.
Currently, I am doing a Bible study called Get Out of Your Head. It's not supposed to be like it's not like it's a book, but it's not in the way of like a Bible study. That's not how it's like templated. But I've been like making it into like separate things that I can like just study like for that day, like whatever chunk of the book that I read. It's basically about like letting go of control. I struggle with anxiety. As I had said previously, I struggled with control. And I find myself in sometimes of my, of my walk with the Lord, still trying to grasp that control of like random things in my life. And I have learned time and time again that the Lord will literally just like rip it out of my hands if he has to be like, hey, focus on me, like focus on me. And so I've been learning a lot about like what that control, like what it looks like to have no control, and allow God to have all of it. And really controlling the way that I like think. Because if there's one thing I can control, it's the way that like I like take care of my thoughts, and it's the way that I take care of who I am as a person. I cannot control like other situations other than that. And so I really try to focus on like what I can do to make sure that I am in the right place and like taking care of myself and like making sure I'm not doing things that are not good for me. Like spending too much time on social media or like spending too much time on like electronics or anything like that.
You hear that? She's not on social media like that.
I'm not.
She stays by herself. She's a woman of God. You men out there.
Oh,
just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, but that's amazing. That's so beautiful. Yeah. And I'm so glad to see that your growth.
It is a work in progress. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously it's a work in progress. I mean, not it's not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's right now we're on this earth. Obviously things are not perfect, but that's such a beautiful thing. You're working on yourself. You're also worshiping at church.
Yes.
And you're
yes, I am. Yeah.
Serving. And that's such a beautiful thing. All of this together are things that one day will bless a man. And it's great that you're doing this right now just because this is your life and you want to have a better life and you want to be comfortable in your home and you're doing all these things to go closer to God. It doesn't have to have that end goal of finding a husband, but I know that is your goal.
That would be nice.
Yeah. And I'm definitely not one of those people. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, just... You know, those people that are kind of like, you don't need a man, like just never worry about that. It's okay. Like never think about it.
Listen, Sharon, I'm going to think about it. Okay? Yeah. I'm going to think about it.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with, I will say there's nothing wrong with desiring a husband. I think that it's like, to me, it's like toxic positivity in the Christian space for women. Why do we tell women that they shouldn't desire a husband, or that when they're in their single season, they should just focus solely on the Lord and never have a thought about that? No, actually, it's a beautiful thing to work on yourself and to think, actually, I'm doing this because I want to prepare for a man one day.
It's trying to find like that sweet spot, like because it's either like you don't think about it at all and that's wrong and you don't have a desire to do that, like that's like wrong. Yeah. Or you think about it too much and that is like your motivation for everything that you're trying to do. Right. And you're idolizing like what this husband looks like, and like you need to find like that sweet spot in the center. Yeah. Sometimes I still kind of struggle one way or the other. Yeah. But I definitely am working on like what that looks like for me to just like be in the center of that and kind of be like, okay, like I know God would not give me this desire like for nothing. Yeah. And so kind of just trying to find like patience in the waiting and like finding ways for me to like flourish and focus on God, like in this waiting period of my life where I'm like,
love it.
Maybe I'll have a husband.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And that's all you can do right now is like actually focus on yourself, focus on staying busy, actually being creative, doing things. One thing that I learned is that when you're not busy and when you're being lazy or when you're like not doing anything in your life, that's when the thoughts really creep in, or that's when you think, oh, I'm lonely. But it's like, have you been productive?
Yeah.
Have you done anything
to help yourself today?
Yeah.
Like anything at all.
Anything. And it doesn't, obviously, like you'll still have those moments. And I'm not saying that to be so busy that you never have time to rest. Or that's not what I'm saying. Like, what I'm saying here is that like, if right now, if I was single, like I would, like how you said, I'd be volunteering. I'd be doing all the busy things, because here's the thing that you'll learn too. When you get married, there's not all of a sudden like something that comes into your life where you're like completely fulfilled now that you're married. You also have to learn while you're married to live without him when he's away at work, when he's gone. Like there's people that have attachment issues to the point where like they can't even be away from their husband because he's at work or he's gone on a trip or whatever, and you can't live without him. You still have to learn how to do your own thing when you're married. And you have to learn how to be creative and be able to have time on your own. And you don't want to be someone that like drives your husband crazy because you need him so much that you
don't want to be by yourself.
Exactly. You can't even be by yourself. And I had to learn that. I'm speaking from someone who's like, I had to learn because I was someone who just needed attention so much or needed him all the time. And it's like, once I learned how to do things that I enjoy, and I help with the babies at church and I do different things, doing my own things has been so beautiful. And I'm, having that time by myself where now every time that I have my time with my husband, it's actually nice and productive. It's special. And even though of course, like my heart is like, I want to be with him every second of the day, all the time. It's really nice to have those time by yourself, and you have to learn how to do that anyways. So yeah, I think you're right. There is like those different sides where it's like not wanting husband at all. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Like if you want to be a woman who's single and you just literally don't feel like having a husband, that's fine. But like that means that you also like there's a little different there, because in scripture where Paul is like, hey, it's better to not be married, but if you have passion, it's better to be married than to be burning with passion. But so if you're a woman who has no desire to be married and you actually want to focus your whole entire life on God, that's fine. It doesn't mean,
and those are people that does happen to some women.
Yeah, like, it won't be me.
It's not me.
Yeah, it's not me. But there's women out there, like, that's fine, and if that's what you want to do. But it doesn't mean that you like don't get married and just sleep around and have boyfriends. Like it's because then people also take that and be like, oh, I'm just not. It's better to not be married. Let me just not be married. Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, you're right. Like, yes, you shouldn't want a husband so much to the point where he becomes an idol and that's all you think about. But that's where I think you're a type of woman where maybe you're not doing anything with your life and all you're doing is thinking about it. Because when you're busy, when you're with friends, when you're enjoying your life, traveling, are you always all the time thinking, I need a husband, I need a man? It's like, no. Yeah, it's like your mind is like on thinking about the moment. And of course, maybe like a thought in your head is like, oh, it would be nice if I had someone holding my hand right now or something. Like it would be kind of nice if we were cuddling right now, but it's fine. I'll take my friends, whatever. Yeah. Like I'm sure those thoughts come in now and then,
every once in a while. Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing. It's like God designed us. God literally said to Adam that it wasn't good that he was by himself. So I do not agree with the sentiment that just because you're single, you can't think about a husband at all or whatever. Because and that's basically what we're feeding Christian women, that they're basically sinning if they're thinking about it. They're like, and I know sometimes I'll speak to women who are single. It's like, it's okay though. Like I'm not thinking about it at all. And I'm just so thankful that, they try to like go the opposite direction and say all these things to like try and reassure me that they're not idolizing. I'm like, don't worry. Like you don't have to.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay that you want a husband.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was really good. And I think that's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing right now. And
thanks. I'm trying.
Doing the work on yourself right now is a beautiful thing for your future husband.